And hello, everybody. We are looking at Unit 2, Lesson 7, and we're giving a comparison of economic exchange between 1200 and 1450. And our essential question is, what are the similarities and differences among the various networks of exchange in the time period 1200 through 1450? And the three that we've really focused on are the Silk Roads, the Trans-Saharan Network, and the Indian Ocean Trade Route. So rather than go through each one of these notes, I just basically summarized this. And this is something that you should be aware of if you've been watching previous videos. I hope you have. So let's look at them. Well, a very easy one, and it's more of we're going to say this is kind of like a geography. Okay, and the Silk Roads and the Trans-Saharan Network are land routes, and the Indian Ocean is a sea route, which means that different technologies are going to be used, but other things. An economic factor is luxury items are being sold mostly along these routes. You're not having a lot of bulk items. You want to get as much value as you can on that camel or in that cart. Carts on this route, camels on this route, camel saddles, okay? Some camels are being used here also, but carts are also being used in wagons. Bulk items are going into these junks. You can put a lot of junk in a junk. They're big ships with big holds, and you want to put bulk items in there. Sweet potatoes, bananas, timber, textiles. These are the things that are going along the Indian Ocean trade route. All right. The beasts of burden that are being used. This is a kind of more of a technology of the development of wagons and some camel saddles. You're having technology that has existed. The camel saddle had been used for a long time, but it's constantly being innovated to get more goods onto that saddle. And the junks, along with all the other naval technology, lateen sails, compasses, astrolabes, navigational charts. An environmental factor, actually, I didn't put here, is the monsoons for the Indian Ocean, not found in these. So you have a technology aspect. Let's look at culture. Religion is being spread along all these routes. On the Silk Roads, it's Buddhism going primarily from India eastward toward China, Japan, Korea, Vietnam, the Khmer Empire, etc. Islam is also traveling in both directions. It's going from west to east rather than it's also going west to east. Buddhism is not very successful once it hits Dar al-Islam. All right, it doesn't really succeed very well. Islam is spreading in all directions along the Silk Roads. The Trans-Saharan route, excuse me, the Trans-Saharan route makes Islam basically the dominant religion in sub-Saharan Africa at this time. And the Indian Ocean route is mostly spreading Islam. It is spreading some Buddhism, but not nearly as much as it is Islam. Islam is going to make its way all the way into Southeast Asia and Indonesia. So it's a very big cultural event for the spread of the Islamic and Muslim religion. Technology is being shared. So all those technologies that are coming out of the East, from China, from India, and from Dar al-Islam, they're being exchanged, they're being modified, they're being employed. Some of it is eventually reaching Europe. And by 1450, Europe is at the phase that, you know, they want to get in on this trade. One of the big happenings that slows down the trade in 1450 is the fall of Constantinople to the Ottomans. This puts a real tightening of the trade goods coming out of the East into Europe because of some, you know, the taxation that was put on it, because honestly, the Muslims still had some hard feelings about the Crusades. That's a big factor. So technology is being shared. Enough of it reaches Europe that they're going to want to get into this Indian Ocean trade route. They want to get into the trade routes in a different way, not have to go through Constantinople, which is a choke point because of political and economic factors. So that's going to have them go west, which we'll be talking about in Unit 4. Other things that are being spread is bubonic plague is being spread all over these trade routes, okay? It's a gift that is going to wipe out a lot of people. However, cities are growing up until the point of the bubonic plague, and they're going to bounce back. You know, after this happens, because of all the foods that's being exchanged, etc., you're going to have a growth of cities. And as these cities grow, they become more centralized. You need a centralized government because, you know, you need to administer that city and you need to administer the surrounding area. You need to protect the trade routes. So you have an increase of centralization all throughout this region. Finally, as centralization occurs, this one crossover between governance, economics, and society, you have class systems which are nearly identical, and they are emerging all over Afro-Eurasia. Wherever you have these centralized states, you start having a very recognizable class system with the leadership, the leaders on top of the pyramid and having most of the wealth, merchant classes, then working classes or military working classes, and then labor or slave labor at the bottom. And it's identical pretty much in every society that this is emerging, this class system. And this is going to be something that we see throughout history. And the challenge to it's going to happen in the 19th century with concepts of utilitarianism, Marxism, etc. That's going to be a big throwing a wrench into the social system and the class system that develops. Okay, that's all you need to know for this idea of the similarities and differences. When we compare, we look at similarities and differences, not just the way they're the same and not just the way that they're different. So this is what you need and to know to understand that. So have a great day. Thank you very much, and we'll see you around soon.